The fist came toward her faster than she expected. Lena Park staggered back as 5 Marines surrounded her in the narrow hallway of the abandoned outpost, like their boots echoing off the concrete walls. They weren't enemies, they were supposed to be allies, but fear, exhaustion, and a terrible misunderstanding had turned them into a threat. "Who are you?" one barked, stepping closer. She could feel their anger, their suspicion. Her mission was classified. She couldn't reveal her identity. She couldn't speak the truth. Yet she also knew one thing, with absolute certainty. They had just picked a fight with someone they didn't understand. And in 30 seconds, they would. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments, where are you re-watching from? I love knowing who's listening. The tension in the hallway thickened. Dust floated lazily in the light from a broken window, while a distant rumble of artillery rolled across the hills. Lena felt a stab of guilt. She hadn't meant to startle the Marines. She was only here to gather intel before the platoon advanced. The collapsed doorway behind her and the silence of the base had triggered their fear. Now they saw a lone woman in civilian fatigues as a threat. Still, she didn't blame them, or twisted perception. Fear made enemies out of shadows. She raised her hands slowly, calmly, keeping her breathing steady. Her heart thudded against her ribs, but her voice stayed silent. Her orders forbid revealing her status unless absolutely necessary. She would have to end this without harming them. But one Marine lunged. She sidestepped, her body moving with a grace drilled into her through years of SEAL training. The Marine stumbled, confusion flickering across his face. The others hesitated. She could see doubt in their eyes, doubt she needed to widen. Inside, Lena wrestled with a moral question. How do you defend yourself without breaking them? How do you stop good men without causing harm? It was a delicate balance, a razor edge she walked with every mission. The second Marine grabbed her arm. She twisted, disarming him with a swift, precise movement. The weapon slid across the floor. Another charged, and she pivoted, sending him to one knee, with a calculated strike that used his momentum rather than her strength. They weren't hurt, just disoriented. By the 12th second, murmurs rippled through the group. By the 20th, one Marine whispered, "She's not normal." By the 30th, they all stared at her with wide eyes. Their breathing slowed, their expressions changed. Respect replaced suspicion. Stillness filled the hallway, heavy with realization. Then the senior Marine stepped forward slowly, rubbing his wrist where she'd caught his strike. "Okay, who are you?" His tone had changed, not demanding, but humbled. Lena hesitated, dunged. Her mission ran through her mind, the rules, the secrecy. But she also saw their exhaustion, their desperation, their need for leadership in a collapsing operation. So she reached into the pocket of her vest and handed him a small black patch, its emblem, unmistakable. The trident. Silence crushed the hallway. Their faces dropped, mouths opened, but no words formed. The same Marines who had just tried to overpower her now looked like recruits standing before a legend. "We're sorry," one finally managed, his cheeks flushing with shame. Lena shook her head gently. No apology was needed. This was war. People made mistakes when fear outpaced clarity. Suddenly, a distant boom rattled the outpost. Dust rained from the ceiling. A radio crackled to life somewhere behind them, Marines calling for reinforcement, voices tight with panic. Lena moved without hesitation. The 5 Marines followed, no longer doubting, no longer questioning. They flowed down the hallway behind her, their movements snapping into coordination like pieces clicking into place. Lena's presence was an anchor, steady, calm, unbreakable. Outside, the battlefield unfolded in a haze of smoke and rising flame. Insurgents closed in on the trapped platoon, their silhouettes darting between rubble. Lena analyzed everything in a heartbeat. Angles, cover, enemy routes. Then she led. No hesitation, no bravado, just silent, decisive action. The Marines mirrored her movements. Out. They advanced like a tide swift, united, unstoppable. Lena's hand struck with precision. Her signals guided their fire. Their weapons hammered in rhythm, pushing the enemy backward. Momentum shifted. Terrain was reclaimed. Lives were saved. When the last insurgent fell, the field quieted. Smoke thinned. The trapped platoon let out breathless cheers. A few clapped. Others stared at her with awe. The 5 Marines from the hallway stood closest, their expressions softened by gratitude. "You didn't have to save us," one said quietly. Lena gave a small smile. "'Cause kindness doesn't vanish. It waits, and it finds its way back." The wind swept through the ruined outpost, stirring the dust where fear once lived. It carried a soft reminder of the opening moment, how quickly judgment can turn, and how strength often hides in silence. Thank you for listening. If this story inspired you, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Whispered Words for more powerful stories every day.